reason, technology seems to have its issues, and we're cut off in the middle of some good back and forth. But I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm coming back for a part two, so here we are. Give it a second for more people to chime in. We're going to get this right tonight because it was too good to let it go. And so, welcome back to RTD Live Talk. My name is Mike, the host of RTD, and I apologize for the interruption, but like always, there's some things I can't control. And when the conversation gets really good, you better believe we're probably going to lose the connection. But we're going to come back for a part two because I was talking on some really good stuff, and I actually lost my train of thought in the middle of that. But for whatever it's worth, we're back here. So welcome to RTD Live Talk. Let's try to pick up where we left off at for a couple more minutes. I want to make sure I can leave the phone lines open for you guys to call in. And so once again, I apologize for the disconnection, but like I always mention, it's not my internet service. It's not anything really on my end other than the fact that I just think that when you're educating people and people enjoying themselves, is what better way to interrupt the party other than just to allow the software to have some issues. But we're back here, so I'll give it a minute for more people to chime in. But we're talking on, man, I forgot what my last thought was. But let's pick up with something else. It says, filming. Yeah, it's not my computer. You know, OBS is the software. It's a free software that I use for everything that you see around me. And when it goes down, you know, there's nothing I can do. I was in the middle of talking, and I look up. I got a little red button that says, you know, disconnected. So it's one of them things that it is, but it's a free software. So until I am able to get my weight up a little bit more and to contribute a little more funds to the program, then I'm going to have to use what's free and comes easy. So that being the case, we're back for another round two. And let's talk a little bit about sanctions. Let's talk about sanctions and the migration process that's underway, because we have our first batch of Hondurans mixed in with whoever else is in that crowd that just touched base on the bottom in Tijuana. And so, you know, I saw a reporter earlier mentioning that no, Ricardo, yeah, SD Booyah has nothing to do with the feed. But I saw a video earlier where there's a reporter right on the Tijuana side at the fence interviewing some Hondurans, and they were saying that, you know, did you not get the message that President Trump basically said that, you know, you guys may not be allowed in? And they were interviewing young ladies and with kids and whatnot, and they were saying that basically we're here, we're not going back, we're going to come into a country, we were seeking asylum because we want a better life for our family. And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, that's all notable, that's all fine and well, but yet, you know, what type of, you know, what exactly, excuse me, are you looking to and able to contribute to this country that would afford you a better life than the life you just left from your country? Because at the end of the day, you know, whatever it is, service or value you're bringing into the workforce, if it wasn't valuable in Honduras, not knowing what exactly the, you know, people's, you know, situation is, but what makes you think it's going to be valuable here, apart from the idea that you want to utilize our system of entitlements and food and shelter and all the things that you get for seeking asylum that's on the government's dollar, or the taxpayers' dollar rather. And so it's going to be interesting to see as more people arrive in these caravans, excuse me, how they're received and what the response is, because I can imagine people are not going to sit along a fence without eventually getting pissed off if there's no action taken to help them get in, and they refuse to get on any type of transportation to head back down to their home country. So I can see in the next couple of weeks, especially as this year comes to an end, thousands of people either sitting along the fence being let in through the legal process wise, or a lot of people getting very antsy. And of course, there's more knuckleheads amongst them crowds that are not really seeking asylum. They're just there to cause problems, which is going to spoil it for everybody, unfortunately. So that's what it is. That's what it is. It says FARC regrouping in Colombia. They were lied to at the re-education camps. Really? D, shine a little light on that, my friend. I haven't followed the whole situation in Colombia, but I know that they're experiencing some problems there. It says sanctions for Venezuela as England refuses to return Venezuelan gold. Yeah, so clearly the UK and English and United States of America are going hand in hand on making sure that you know, Venezuela doesn't succeed in their petro slash sovereign bolivar slash gold savings plan that they have going on down there. And so we'll see how it all pans out. But it's good to say if Venezuela don't get their gold, there's not much they can really do about it because they're not in a position to push much of a, really go before the UN or anybody that really cares to argue about getting our gold back. So I would be willing to say that gold is gone and they will never get it again. It says, are you sure, Danny? I thought the rules were changed on that. Yeah, not sure. But anyway, people, we're going to try this for a couple more minutes. And other than that, the phone lines are open if you guys want to call in. But I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on this caravan situation along the border. What are your thoughts on whether or not it's going to end well or it's going to end very bad for a lot of people? And so I also heard a couple commentators throw out the words of if it gets bad along the border, there being some type of martial law declared that would put every citizen in this country on alert for, for what, I'm not sure, but, it's going to be a lot of things that worth keeping an eye on. And then on another note, since we're talking, I want to cover what's happening in the political realm, because apart from the recounts, I haven't really been paying much attention to that either, just because apart from the fact I heard that Arizona was retaliated and it looks like it went to I heard someone mention about a socialist Democrat there. And so if anybody's familiar with the situation in Arizona, feel free to shine some light on it. And then we got the Florida and Georgia situation. I'm not sure if it's still going on or what the results were, but let me take a minute and actually look it up so I can, familiarize myself with it. It says, let me type in Georgia and see if there's any developments and see what's happening with that. It says, let me pull this up. Pull up a couple articles here and I'll thumb through it because I'm not familiar with it. It says, why political fight in Georgia is far from over. And this was as of updated today. And it says the fight for Georgia governor's race isn't over yet, though Republican Brian Kemp declared victory over Democratic Stacey Abrams last week. A string of recent court rulings has called for Georgia to count votes that the state previously rejected. So the question is, why were they rejected originally? I imagine there's some questionable ballots. And I've heard so many things about thousands of people, not even being citizens that voted, which is why this whole open border policy is a problem, because the Democrats want people in this country to vote for things. And so I'm sure that's why it was such a push to have the borders open prior to this administration. And then I heard about dead people getting ballots and all types of, ballots are in warehouses not even being counted on purpose. And so, yeah, man, this is not ending pretty. But it says the latest of these rulings came Wednesday evening when U.S. District Judge Steve Jones ruled that Georgia counties cannot certify election results until they count absentee ballots previously rejected for things like missing or incorrect birth dates. Yeah, so here, once again, it seems like it's more favorable for, the Democratic Party to really cause problems with this whole election process. Whether or not it's right or wrong, who knows? But it says the ruling came in response to a recent lawsuit filed by the Abrams campaign that not only wanted these absentee ballots counted, but also wanted to count provisional ballots filtered by voters who tried to vote in the wrong county. So, yeah, so once again, due to a lot of human error and I imagine intentional error by a lot of people, here we have a situation where it just shows how chaotic and how unorganized our political system is. And it's unfortunate that it's good to say that this will not be resolved anytime soon. So, yeah, we'll see how that all plays out, man. But it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It says, well, Mike, a bunch of FARC leaders left the re-education camps, went back into the mountains, and are rearming. FLN had warned them the Colombian government would lie to them. Yeah, so here's the thing with the whole FARC situation. Not really well versed in it, but the idea that, it's comprised of a lot of drug lords and rebels and opposition to the, the criminal government, I'm sure there. The fact that they were willing to sit down and negotiate with them would let me know that there's no way you can negotiate with an unorganized crime syndicate and actually get away with a win-win. That doesn't sound like it might make sense, but I'm sure people have tried it, but there's no way you can, you can rationalize and reason with crime and criminals. I think, but I could be wrong, but But you got to do what you got to do, given it's so corrupt in our country, I'm sure. It says, I'm scared of the NYPD in case martial law is declared. NYC cops are the new mob. Danny, tell us some stories, my friend. What's going on out in NYC? And this is another thing. I had a conversation with someone just recently on the idea how, because of all the isolated, well, not necessarily isolated, but all the events that seem to make the corporate mainstream news in reference to a cop abusing his privilege of protecting and serving, and end up killing some innocent bystander or something of that nature, it really paints a bad picture. Brando, what's up, my friend? It really paints a bad picture for the cops that are actually out there protecting and serving the public, because now, I can admit now, as an African-American male, that over the last, couple years, because of everything I've seen, I've been a little bit more unease and a little bit standoffish when it comes to having anything to do with the police, just because my thought process, I'm going to make sure I do everything I can to be polite and cooperative as I can, given the fact that I haven't had any run-ins really, but a parking ticket. But, it's one of the things where it's unfortunate that when you're leery of the people that's there to protect you, to the point where I'm sure in some areas, if crime was happening, you probably like, no, I ain't calling the police just because, they'll get here and want to handcuff me, and I'm calling them on something that's happening to me. So it's unfortunate, because if you can't rely upon your own law enforcement in your city, then who you gonna rely upon when things hit the fan for real? It's one of the things where it's gonna be every man for themselves. And I can see a time where people decide to go against law enforcement, and it become a civilian / law enforcement feud where, it's not gonna be any winners to that, in my opinion. It says, if you buy in cash, doesn't matter. We talk about this. Just like Coinbase, can the IRS government request bullion dealers to report info about their customers? This is regarding confiscation. Tom, good question there. I don't think there's anything on the books that requires bullion dealers to report, apart from any suspicious activity or any large purchases over, I'm not sure, but over maybe like a $10,000 mark or something like that, where I believe that bullion dealers are encouraged to, and they might even have some type of restrictions or whatever that they have to. But I personally have not came across anything that would lead me to believe that, bullion dealers have to. And so other than that, but yet I would say do a little homework, investigating for yourself, but I don't think so, not yet. But I can imagine there comes a time that will be the case. But also keep in mind that whenever you use your credit card, your debit card, everything's recorded through the banking aspect, so it's all digital computer anyway, so they can pretty much see or monitor whatever via your swiping of the card. It says America needs Area 51 tech release for manufacturing here in the U.S. in order to cushion the economy. Omniball, I'm not familiar with that at all. It says cops are really the new mob. They don't even hide it anymore. Robbing kids, planting weapons on kids. Danny, man, that's real true. That's true. I don't doubt that at all. It says I can't trust police as far as I can throw them, and I've tried. Brando, if you try to throw a cop, you must be a big dude, my friend. It says, hi, Mike from Canada. Cool Canadian. How you doing, my friend? Thanks for tuning in tonight. We've covered a lot of subjects on this. This is part 2 of our chat tonight, due to the fact we were interrupted with the computer software going down, but we give it another try for a couple minutes. It says, if I got crypto on my mind again, Mike. So Brando, talk to me about the crypto aspect. What are your thoughts? We got any crypto people out there that want to comment on this Bitcoin Cash fork, and let's play through some scenarios on how this might pan out, because I think it's going to be very disruptive for just the word Bitcoin in general. If those two sides decide to try to outdo one another, and I don't think it's going to end well, to where it got me really questioning the whole idea of being involved with Bitcoin Cash at this current moment. So let me know if anybody decide to get out of it or taking advantage of it. Any Bitcoin Cash people out there, feel free to let us know. It says it's crazy because black cops beat on their black men worse than a white cop would. Yeah, man, and I really can't understand the idea of just abuse. It's one thing as a law enforcement officer to be threatened or to feel threatened if you're in a crowd of people that appear to be violent, but to be what I see what's even bad is when you have a male cop arresting a female, And I saw several videos where a cop is just punching a female. You know, she's not no real threat, but he handcuffed her and slammed her, you know, roughed her up, put his head in her back. And I'm like, man, like, that's a woman, man. Like, you know, I know some women out here get out of hand and want to get physical with a cop, but man, like, there has to be some type of, you know, man, like, standard or something of how you can, you know, use physical force, especially if people are complying. If they're laying down politely and got their hands up and stuff, and you still gonna get a little jab in, that's cheap, man. And then my thing is, you know, you reap what you sow. So even though you have a badge on, you know, you are the law, but you ain't above the eternal, universal law of God's standard. So you're gonna get back what you dish out, man. It's like, I'm really sure that a lot of people can agree with me that, you know, that's just a biblical principle slash, it's a principle in general. You reap what you sow, in a good and bad sense. So if you out here dogging people, abusing your privileges, it's good to say you got your hands on some things that's going to come back to bite you in the butt. That's just my opinion. It says whatever tech Area 51 holding back can be used and manufactured to protect or cushion the economy. Ooh, Omni, Area 51, yeah. You know, apart from just, you know, theory, what we hear, nobody really knows what's down there. I believe it's gonna be some helpful stuff, but yet the question is, will it be unleashed as a way of making the already filthy rich even richer, or will it be released to benefit mankind in the midst of all this confusion that we're entering into? And I can imagine it's gonna be the first, not the latter, just because the goal is always to keep the goal for, it looks like, for all the corporations is to always keep a hand in your pocket through taxation or through just overcharging, through usury, you name it. They want to keep a hand in your pocket, not to have you being abundantly blessed by the technology that is available. So I can imagine that it will be something that will not be beneficial for all people when it is unleashed, if any of that information does come to the light. It says the bear market already got people spooked, and BCH gives them a reason to walk away. Yeah, so here's the thing, you know, with the whole cryptocurrency price drop, it's exciting. You know, I must admit I'm extremely excited. Today was like Christmas on my part. I was excited to, you know, get my digits up a little bit as well as my weight. So, you know, I look at it as, like I was talking about earlier, the whole scarcity aspect. There's only so many projects out there that have disrupting potential, and there's only so many coins out there to be held by an unlimited amount of Federal Reserve notes as well as other national currencies. So I believe the scarcity factor will win over when it comes to cryptocurrencies at the end of the day. And so because of that, you know, when it dips, it's like, man, like, you know, it's a privilege to be able to redeem notes for something that has use case and has a purpose and is scarce. I would just, you know, that's my opinion. I'm gonna leave it there, but I would just off interesting projects that have a very good use case for now and the years ahead, factored in with scarcity. That seems like a very good formula to me to really take a couple pennies and just throw it at the wall towards some projects with some confidence. It says those Bitcoin Cash people better be careful or end up like Bitcoin dark, dead, and gone. Yeah, that's the thing. There's so many Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that. You know, if you use the word Bitcoin, you know, people may end up jumping into it. And of course, once again, because they're trash, at the end of the day, they're all pump and dump schemes. If they are scarce, then I wouldn't doubt down the line out of desperation, somebody looked to pump in a large amount of money into what's labeled a dead Bitcoin just because it's scarce, and they know that if you can put a couple million into a dead project and give it a little bit of a life, and it can rise on a coin market cap and show like it went up, you know, 300% a day, there's gonna be some people that's gonna follow suit and go get into that same coin. And all it takes is one story to catch on the mainstream news. Look at Bitcoin revival. It just came back to life. You know, it's now up over 300%. You better believe people gonna Google Bitcoin revival and look to buy it look to buy into it. That's just how funny this market is. People don't understand. They'll buy into a project just because it's, you know, labeled Bitcoin or promoted as being something as being useful. So that's what it is, man. But as always, people, it's that 10:47 mark. I apologize for the disruption, but we did get a chance to get some good back and forth in. It says, Danny, as a black man, how do you feel knowing American only acknowledge a black person as 3/5 of a man? Danny, apart from you mentioning that idea of being labeled 3/5 of a man never really came to heart or really came to mind, because I already operate in somewhat of a different frame of thought in reference to just, skin tone in general. Like I try not to see color in the way that most people do. So, I look at it as we're all of the same race. We happen to have different amounts of pigmentation into our skin. We all grew up in different environments that, gave us different cultures and beliefs and backgrounds, but we're all under the same sun and same moon, subject to the same thing. So I believe if you have an idea, if you have ambition, if you have desire, you can make something jump off. Now, whatever that is up to you, but I believe that everyone here will and can have a fair shot at achieving some form of a dream in one way or another. And then if you factor in the faith aspect, which I'm really big on, the spirituality side, I believe that, God has a way of always utilizing each and every one of our gifts to allow us to excel towards his calling. So, yeah, I don't really pay attention to the stuff like that, my friend. I'm sorry. I don't really give it much thought, just because, yeah, this is all temporary anyway. This life is temporary. Enjoy it while you can. Do the best you can. Help people, be a blessing, and go from there. It says, all my kids getting crypto for Christmas. That's interesting. Now the question is, when it comes to giving your kids crypto, have you given them some weight? Have you helped them get their weight up just yet? My suggestion will make sure you get them a gram of gold or some couple ounces of silver, which I imagine if you are a man of both means, you've probably done that. So, but definitely don't forget to get your weight up, people. It's that time. It says, but Black's Law Dictionary describes a black man as only 3/5. I think it's very sad. Yeah, Black's Law. I've never really glanced in the Black's Law Library to even see a definition of that nature. And when I see something like that, to me, that just lets me know that the author of that book was operating from a standpoint of ignorance and not looking at me and the African American or African race or whatever you want to call it, the people with darker skin pigmentation originated from Africa, as being humans in general. So that lets me know that if I'm considered less than a human to someone else, then I'm really not too concerned with that person's opinion in the first place. Because last I thought, we all get up in the morning and put our pants on the same way, and we go out our doors to accomplish something that's in all of our hearts together. So I look at it just ignorance. I don't pay it no mind. Once again, it's one of them things where, I know there's going to be people out here that, see through color lenses and want to make a big deal out of it. And here's my thing. At the end of the day, if you really focused on, if you're one of the people that really look at color and see black, white, hate them, they not, whatever you call people, Jews or whoever, whatever you choose to, be against, it's basically just saying that, you must not have much worth living for or much doing in your own life that you have time to actually pay attention to somebody else, doing something, or to degrade another race of people or ethnicity rather, just because you have a certain belief about them. I just think that's real petty and small. So, I will hope one day we can get beyond that, realize that, it's not really, color. It's more so it's good versus evil, sin versus righteousness. So, I look at it from a spiritual standpoint about that. It says, what matters is how you see yourself. Don't let the government define you. Very true. Don't let the government or anybody define you. You define yourself. Your beliefs about yourself will predict and create your future. If you believe you have nothing but opportunity, it's good to say nothing can hold you back. But if you believe you have a ceiling, or a lot of people in the African American community love to say the man hold me down, the man. I'm like, what man you talking about? You a man, go make something happen for yourself somehow, some way. But that's just my 2 cents. Says the reason for my original question regarding confiscation was because my buddy told me AppMax was trying to call him to get more personal information. He never returned the call. AppMax, yeah, that's a pretty big bullion dealer. I'm not sure. I would imagine they have their own protocol for what they do. But I believe when it comes to doing things online, between your email address, your address where it's shipped to, and your credit card number, those 3 things there can technically be, KYC, information, to where those 3 things there alone pretty much can pinpoint where you're located at. So as far as needing your social security number and all stuff like that, I don't think you really need that nowadays, because they can use your IP address on your computer to tell where you're located at, in a sense. So, but yeah, man, that's what it is. I agree, James. It says need as believe breach or pale. Yeah, man. So with that being the case, people, it's been fun as always. Definitely take advantage of the opportunities over here. Definitely, if you have not, we had another central banker over here telling you what the importance of gold. Definitely take advantage of that. Link down below to get your gram on. Right now we got a couple more weeks for the deal's over with. I've already got me a couple of them things just because, how would I not be able to get my weight up while encouraging you to do your own? Because this is Get Your Weight Up month. Other than that, people, be good, have fun, be safe, be blessed. We back here. I'll probably get a news story out tomorrow. Might do some news this weekend. Got a lot of things happening on my end. But other than that, it's been great to get back. As I mentioned, I was out of town earlier this week, so I couldn't get to the computer. But as always, man, it's always good to connect with new people as well as those. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching this. And share this video if you find it informative. Tell a friend and join us next time. And I'll see you guys later. Be safe, be blessed, and get your weight up. Peace.